day and yesterday, and also some additional ballots that we had pending because we had to stop processing to begin getting ready for Election Day support. So on Election Day at the drop-off locations at all vote centers and the election department, there were 34,743 ballots dropped off. The U.S. Postal Service, as of Election Day and yesterday, brought to us 4,208 ballots, and there were 24,311 ballots that were pending when we stopped processing to get ready for Election Day. So that brings us to a total of 63,262. Today, staff is preparing to count and has already begun counting a little over 51,000 ballots that will be reported tomorrow prior to my 10 a.m. brief. It's important that everybody understand that there are also additional ballots that are pending outside of what I just described. So I'm briefly going to go through those. The provisional ballots that were cast during the early voting on Election Day. The first announcement that I need to make is that the posting that was placed on our website on election night and yesterday was incorrect. We determined that our tabulation software was incorrectly duplicating those records, and so the 120,000 that you may have seen on our website is an incorrect number. That has been corrected, and the post that is out on our website now at www.clarkcountynv.gov/vote is correct, and those provisional ballots number a little over 60,000. We have to coordinate very closely with the Secretary of State. We are a bottom-up, not a top-down voter registration jurisdiction, and so all 17 counties need to send information to the Secretary because there's not one single database that we all draw from. We all have our own. And so in coordinating with the Secretary of State, we're awaiting instructions from them on when to send our provisional listing up to them, because we need to make absolutely certain that nobody who's casted a provisional ballot here in Clark County has done so in another county. So we're waiting instructions from them on when to send that report so we can make that verification. Staff is still currently working on all of those provisional ballots to make determinations as to whether the voter was eligible to cast that provisional ballot. That work will be ready once we notify the Secretary of State, and it is an automated process to pass those provisional ballots into the tabulation system. We have a group of voters who are ID required for one reason or another. The deadline for those voters to get back to us is Friday, November 6th at 5 p.m. So that is another group of ballots that we will need to put into the system once they have come in to provide their ID. The U.S. mail will continue to deliver. So starting tomorrow through next Tuesday, which is the last day for us to receive a mail ballot that's been postmarked November 3rd, we will continue to receive mail. So again, those ballots are also separate from what I previously reported. The cure process in Nevada, which is statutorily required for those voters who have been notified that they either did not sign their ballot or their signature did not match in our system. They have until Thursday, November 12th to cure that ballot. The last day that we can tabulate and send ballots into the system is November 12th. So that night we will stay here until we are done entering ballots into the system, because statute clearly tells us that we must be done counting by that date. With that information, we hope that I've clarified a lot of the questions. We are anticipating to have the bulk of our mail ballot that have been received into the system by Saturday or Sunday. Those ballots that are coming in through the U.S. mail or that are being cured will be a small number, and we will continue to put those in. But the bulk of our ballots we're hoping will be read by Saturday or Sunday this weekend. And again, we won't complete until November 12th with all of those other ballots that serve as exceptions. So with that information, I've got a short period of time here where I can answer some questions from you.
Why such a slow count?
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, the Trump campaign is alleging the counting of improper votes here in Clark County. What is your response?
My response is that we are not aware of any improper ballots that are being processed.
You've not presented any evidence to reporters. Have they presented any evidence to you?
Not directly that I'm aware of.
And there's also some concern that Clark County is counting relatively slowly. I've got close. Is that the case here? Are you counting faster than 2016?
I think it's important for the entire country to understand that mail ballots on this scale is very new to the state of Nevada. We made a decision here to provide as much access as we possibly could as a result of the pandemic, and so our processes run a little bit slower. We also have to make sure that our data is being updated because we need to prevent people from voting twice in the system. And so we have to scan those in as mail received so that it updates the database so our in-person voters can't have voted twice. We're still receiving information from our election day laptops. That'll be complete today. So we're going to update and make sure that all of the information was downloaded from all 1,300 of those laptops that were used on election day to make sure that the automated system will reject mail ballots for somebody who has voted on election day. So our goal here in Clark County is not to count fast. We want to make sure that we're being accurate. The results in the state of Nevada obviously are going to be very important to the entire country, and that is our number one goal.
What's the outstanding number? One more time, the outstanding number?
I just went through the whole thing.
What's the total? What is the total?
Well, I went through a long process. How about we get together after this?
Why is it taking so long if you can count 70,000 a day?
I think I just answered that question.
You said deliberately, but if you have the capacity, why aren't you doing it?
Because they're not available, sir. There are many steps in the process. So the first process is that we run it through our Agilis machine. Then there are 2 manual processes. Then it goes to the counting board, and then it goes to tabulation. I need you to speak up, sir. I can't hear your question. I did not say they were already counted. I said today the staff is prepared to count 51,000 ballots that are ready to be counted today. Those will be reported tomorrow at 10 a.m. right there next to you. Folks, I really need you all to speak up. I cannot hear you. Those are separate, and that's why I listed in my statement that those are separate from the numbers that I reported first. I don't have that number with me.
Mr. Goria, to summarize and help us all, how many ballots are left to count?
That's a number that I can't give you. I can't predict to you what's going to come through the U.S. mail. So I deliberately went through all of these numbers, and I was hoping that you all would take the information that I'm providing. But there's a set number of ballots that we know are available to be processed, and that's the 63,000. Then I mentioned all of the other additional ballots. So we again we plan to be able to have counted the majority of our mail ballots by Saturday or Sunday, and then all of those other ballots that were statutorily limited, I can't count all the mail ballots till I have them, and we have to continue to accept them up till Tuesday, November 10th.
To repeat the numbers so that we were clear, it was 63262.
That is correct.
Correct? Thank you.
Joe, this morning I talked to Jill Stokey, a longtime Clark County resident. She said that when she went to vote in person last week, she was told her mail ballot had been returned. An election official later told her her signature had been accepted on that ballot, but she said she didn't receive her mail ballot, let alone sign it. Is it possible that someone else successfully returned her ballot or
I personally dealt with Ms. Stoke. She brought her claim to me. We reviewed the ballot, and in our opinion, it's her signature. We also gave her an opportunity to provide a statement if she wanted to object to that and provide a challenge to that. She refused to do so. A member of the Nevada Secretary of State's Office investigation team also interviewed her, and they had no issue with the assistance that we tried to give her. I have nothing else to comment on that. Next question.
So you were interrupted during your press conference yesterday. There were rallies outside of the building yesterday evening. Are you concerned with your own safety, the safety of your staff, and what's being done to protect people?
I can tell you that my wife and my mother are very concerned for me, but we have security here. We have law enforcement who are protecting us. I am concerned for the safety of my staff. We're putting measures into place to make sure that we have the security that's necessary. Again, we're going to begin to monitor the vehicles as they come in to make sure that they should be here and that they're parking properly so that we don't prevent our employees from having an issue getting in and out of the facility. But I feel safe. We're going to be okay. We're going to continue to count. We will not allow anyone to stop us from doing what our duty is in counting ballots. Yes, right there.
What would you say to those who are coming to putting down the whole process, saying that the state changed the rules when they decide to mail ballots to every registered elector of Nevada, and that was a violation of the old rules, plus that they cannot be allowed to observe closely all the counting and the process to count the votes?
The first part of your question relates to action that was taken by the Nevada legislature. I don't make policy, I'm simply an administrator. So the Nevada legislature acted in the summer, and we carried through with it exactly what they prescribed for us to do. As far as your second issue, that issue's been litigated, and the judge ruled in our favor. Louder, please. Those are reports that we're going to generate after the election once we start getting ready to do our canvass. So that's information that I'll have available once we've done all of our work, counted all the ballots. And if we have enough proof, we will definitely going out to arrest these people, because those are obviously illegal actions. But that's an activity that needs to take place once we've done counting and getting the canvass done. Most of these voters have been notified, and they actually voted because they voted provisionally and were told they didn't have the ID that they needed in order to do that. These are also mail ballot voters who were also notified that they needed to provide an ID on the envelope that's sent out to them, and they failed to do so. So they've been notified, and the deadline is tomorrow at 5 p.m. I know that there are several people who are working to actively reach out to those voters and try to help them get in with that ID. There was a question over here. Yes, right there. It depends on the status of our mail ballot process. We are running shifts in certain areas, so we work anytime varying from 5 a.m. up to 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We don't run the 24-hour shifts that you see running in other states, because the work that comes through on the mail ballot process is very deliberate as it moves forward, and so we complete the work that's done in each stage, and then the next day it carries forward to the next. Again, I emphasize, what I'm trying to report here is that Clark County looks like we'll be able to count the majority of our mail ballots by Saturday or Sunday. However, there are other ballots, as a result of statutory requirements, that we'll have to continue to read, because we have to take ballots until next Tuesday.
Mr. Gloria, will you continue to have these briefings on Saturday and Sunday?
Absolutely. I will be here at 10 a.m. until we're done.
Mr. Gloria, do you expect to announce any results later today, or is it supposed to be out in it?
We're going to coincide with the Secretary of State. I think it's very important that as a state, all 17 of the counties are working to coordinate with the Secretary, who is our Chief Election Officer. So she has reported that she put out today at 9. We followed suit, and we reported today. If the Secretary makes a decision not to report from here on out, we are going to have to report. So if we have results to report, we will do it on a daily basis, as I mentioned. We're going to do a 10 a.m. brief to give you all an opportunity to ask questions, and our update should be posted prior to that brief. Right there. Any individual who had an issue with their mail ballot should have contacted us prior to Election Day. We are here to help the voter. I have been on many Zoom interviews, many media interviews, many organizational groups throughout the county, letting them know that if you have an issue with your ballot, whatever it may be, call 455-VOTE. However, they're past that process. The election is over. We're in the process of counting at this point. Right there. You know, that's available on our website. I don't have that number right off the top of my head, but you can quickly see that on our website and our ENR report. Right there. I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't hear you. I'm hard of hearing and we're in the warehouse. Regardless of any reports that you're referring to, the numbers that I just gave you are the ones you should go with. Don't try to calculate it for yourself. I just told you that there are 63,262, and then there are exceptions. So I can't answer any of your questions because you're drawing from data that I didn't calculate. Yeah, but that's not what I used to generate. I purposely set up this interview so that we could make sure and clear this up. You're drawing your data from somewhere else, and you want me to answer according to that number. I can't. That's why I gave you this information. Our next question, right there.
Considering all the security checks that you mentioned that are in place to prevent anything like voter fraud, in your expert opinion, how likely is it that a single ballot that should not have been counted has been counted? What's the likelihood?
I can't give you a probability on that. What I can tell you is that we're firm in our commitment to making sure that we're processing ballots with high integrity in the state of Nevada. A lot of that depends on anybody who's aware of something they feel that may have been nefarious. They need to notify our office, and we'll get the Nevada Secretary of State involved with investigating that. But we're doing everything we can to uphold the integrity of the process here in Clark County.
Should voters here in Nevada and all across the country have confidence in the way you're counting and the votes?
Absolutely. We're very committed here, and we have a strong history in Clark County of leading in our processes and the use of technology and working to keep things high in integrity with everything I do and we do as a team. Credit to my staff for their commitment as well in the hours they've worked. But what I really want to also hit home on, and this is for election administrators across the country, I'm sure they agree with me, we're not concerned with breeding as fast as we can. We are concerned with making sure that we're accurate in what we report, because this is a very important election in the state of Nevada. It may make the decision for the president. So we take that very seriously, and we will make sure that we're doing everything properly.
Joe, using your numbers, and everybody's watching who wants to be clear, 63,262, and you expect to count 51,000 today, that means most should be counted by tomorrow.
That's not what I said. I've said it many times. Clark County is looking like we will complete the bulk of our mail ballot count by Saturday and Sunday. After that, there are several exceptions as related to statute. I can't know what I'm going to receive in the mail next Sunday, Monday, or not Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. I'm statutorily required to count those ballots if they're postmarked by the 3rd. We have provisional ballots that are going to go in. All of the exceptions that I mentioned, those are ballots that will be counted. Anybody that was eligible and they casted a ballot and provided us anything they needed to provide, their ballot will be counted by November 12th. I don't have observers. It's the general public that comes in and observes. I don't add observers. You need to speak up, ma'am. Absolutely not. We've been working close with all parties who've been interested in observing our activities. In fact, we've gone above and beyond what the statute calls for us to do. The only thing Clark County needs to do, required by law, is to provide access to anyone who wants to observe us counting. We realized with the engagement by the general public in this election that they were going to be concerned and probably want to see more, so we, as a courtesy, provided more observation opportunities in other rooms. Now, these groups have also been contacted on a regular basis, and they continue to say that we're not communicating with them. We started communicating with them in the month of August and September, and we made clear to them exactly what we would do. We set up a schedule to count, and it's a worst-case scenario. because we want to make sure that we've got all of our bases covered and that we're going to have staff available to complete each task, each step, every day. Obviously, my staff is getting better at what they do because they've been doing it for over 20 days now. So if we finish before our scheduled time and there's no more work, they're done. And so we have notified observers who come up, there's nothing to observe, and we've even gone so far as to tour them and take them to see the area to confirm that there's nothing going on. Unfortunately, there are some observers that come through that take it upon themselves to go into areas that they're not allowed to view, interact with our workers, what they're not allowed to do. We clearly communicate to them exactly what they can and can't do with observers. So no, we have done everything we possibly can in Clark County to allow observers to participate.
Sir, point of clarification, the ballots...
One more question. We're going to take one more.
Were same day, mail, or both? The ballots reported today.
Same
Were the
day.
ballots reported today, same day, mail ballots, or both?
What do you mean by same day?
Voting, same day voting, voting in person.
You mean registration?
Voting in person.
All of the in-person votes are in the system.
So, okay, so ballots reported today were drop-off of vote by mail ballots, is that correct?
Some of them, they're grouped in different areas. I can't tell you exactly which ballots went in and got counted.
And how come you're not able to say that as the registrar?
Well, I would have to go look at the batches and see where they came from. What I'm telling you is exactly what we know we have left. This could be a combination of drop-off ballots, things that were left in the mail. That's all we really have left at this point.
But today was not in-person voting. Reporting today was not in-person.
Again, in-person voting was reported on election night. That would have been early voting on election day. All of the in-person votes are in the system.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Dan.
Hold on, I'll be back.
Okay, so that concludes the press conference, but